What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. Boy, I'm getting started this morning. I got a lot of stuff to do. So, couple of things here. We've got the combine. We're knee deep in it. We haven't heard any more updates on Osa Indigazua and his contract extension. The fact that we are actually looking at signing people ahead of time is still groundbreaking to me. We've got Brian Schottenheimer and his whole coaching staff. Everybody is there evaluating these players together, something that typically does not happen. We only have usually a few coaches, and sometimes, if you'll remember, last year, Mike McCarthy, I believe, was actually in Dallas during the combine. I got to double check that, but I think he wasn't basically invited to the combine for the Cowboys, which is kind of crazy. So that's another change that we have going on. Now, we have a Texas speedster wide receiver who is gleaming about his interview with the Dallas Cowboys. And that's Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond, who is listed between 5'10" and 5'11", about 188 pounds, a little on the small side. And he's leaving a year early to get into the NFL. His draft prospect grade is about a 6.73, which is an eventual starter. This is not a guy that you look and say he's a first-round pick. They're rating him somewhere between 5 and 10 as far as wide receivers on the board. But he is a speedster, and supposedly he has done 4.422 before in his 40s, and he is looking to break the combine record. He thinks that he can do a 4.1. Okay, that's a lot of speed. That's a lot of speed. Now, as far as the amount of work and catches and things that he does not have that much experience because he is leaving early. And I want to say that he got like about 600 yards in receptions last year for the Longhorns. So definitely a guy to keep your eye on. The thing to look at now, understand, there is the interviews, and you're allowed to do 30 interviews. The interesting thing on all this is the interviews, everybody shares. So they recognize that we can't have interviews with every single player out there that is a draft prospect because there's just not enough time. There's too many players. Brian Schottenheimer pointed out that, I'm sorry, not Brian Schottenheimer, Will McClay pointed out that one of the prospects that they wanted to talk to was on the other side of the building, and when he got over to them, you've got 20 minutes to do your interview. He was late, and he said he had to go pee. So you don't know if he was throwing shade at the Cowboys and trying to let them know we don't really want you to be there, but you don't have a lot of time to go through and talk to these players. Now, what's really important and a key thing to watch is actually after the combine is the pre-draft visits. Those are the ones that are the most important because that'll give you more of a taste of what the Cowboys are really going direction-wise, because pretty much all of their top picks are players that they brought in, for the most part, brought in for the team visits and interview, which is one-on-one. You see the facilities, you talk to them more than the 20 minutes and things there. So that'll be what we really want to watch, of course, going forward down the road. And it's going to be interesting to see which way the Cowboys go. I'm hoping that the Cowboys, because we do have the Cowboys basically doing the opposite of what they did last year. Last year it was like, we're not signing our free agents and we're not signing anybody else. When you think about Jonathan Hankins, when you think about Dante Fowler, when you think about Dorrance Armstrong, when you think about Stephon Gilmore, when you think about Biotish, when you think about Tyron Smith, when you think about Tony Pollard, those were all key guys that got us to 12-5 season. Those were all key guys. Those just those 7 right there. And I'm missing 2 others that were starters Well, you can say Leighton Vander Esch because, of course, he had to retire because of his back. That was a lot of players to let go and not replace other than the draft or bottom tier free agents. This year, the Cowboys are recognizing, okay, we're going to bring back Osin Digazuba, who's one of the top interior defensive linemen at getting pressure, because that's also a spot. The 3 technique is a spot that is key for Matt Eberflus's defense. And so they want to start out right there, and they probably look at it and say, we're not going to be able to get somebody with his ability for less. And quite frankly, $21 million, I know Cowboy fans are saying that's too much. He's a top 5 as far as pressures go in interior defensive line. That's less than the franchise tag, which is 24, which is the average of the top 5. So that's not necessarily a bad price to get him signed up for, because the salary cap, of course, is going up. So you look at it and they say they want to, of course, bring him back. They seem to want to bring back Jordan Lewis, who has become a really good nickel cornerback for the Cowboys. So you're looking and saying, we don't want to go ahead and get rid of him. We know Deron Bland's going to be back. Your secondary will be in better shape. We don't know if and when Diggs is going to be coming back. Then you add to this that they want to bring back possibly, or at least DeMarcus Lawrence is fully healthy and wants to come back. That brings back a little bit more stability. And if he is healthy, DeMarcus Lawrence is still really, really good. And that would keep the Commanders with the left hand up from being able to bring him to their side. And that's one of the things that you also have to look at is, do you want your competition to be able to get all these firepower? You know, if you're, say, the Eagles, and you look and say that the Commanders might bring in Myles Garrett, it might behoove you to try and say, maybe we should try and get Myles Garrett to help prevent them from getting better. Because ultimately, the Cowboys are going to have to get better to compete with the Washington and with the Eagles. Now, the Eagles, everything is not hunky-dory. They've got guys that they're going to lose because of free agency as well. And maybe losing Kellen Moore, I can't believe I'm going to say this, maybe actually hurts them a bit too. So we'll see how all these things go together and work out and stuff going forward. But it's going to be interesting to say the least. Isaiah Bond, a guy to keep your eyes on for the Cowboys. As always, you know I appreciate you guys. I've got a lot of things that are going on, things that you guys don't know about and all that. But, you know, we're going to try and keep up with everything that is the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate you guys. Peace out.